Well, today Hush Hush Beers is very, I don't know, we're actually so pleased to be talking to Patryk Vega, who is the director of an upcoming film which is based on the life of Putin from his how he became president. And I want to say welcome first, Patryk. I'm very excited to obviously speak with you today. I was hoping we would be in person in LA because you've just been to the American film market. And I believe you've done very well in terms that, the film has actually been sold to 64 countries. So congratulations on that. And
Thank
um,
you very much.
and also, I'm really keen to find out more about the film. So, can we start with? Sorry about my toy poodle has decided to get very protective over there. Rudy, stop it. Can we start with? Can you share what inspired you to create a film centered on President Putin, and what messages are you hoping to create through this portrayal?
On the first day of the war, when Putin invaded Ukraine, I felt that this would become one of the most significant topics in the world.
Yes.
One that would shape the future in the coming years. And that's when I decided to create a biography of Putin. I am confident that audience reactions will vary depending on the region. Today, with political, technological, and economic connections, the entire world is linked to Putin's impact, but each region experiences it differently. When I talk to distributors from Brazil or India,
Mm.
it becomes clear that they are connected to the topic of Putin because together with Russia and China, they want to create their own currency to rival the US dollar. South Korea has a conflict with North Korea, which is allied with Russia, yes, and Kim Jong-un is walking hand in hand with Putin. NATO fears military conflict with the Russian Federation. Even people in Africa are connected to the topic of Putin. On one hand, they fear Crimea due the embargoes. On the other, Putin, through Prigozhin's actions, has paved the way for local dictators to gain power to wage a demographic war with Europe through the influx of immigrants. Meanwhile, the United States views this issue through the lens of the Cold War conflict with Russia and the nuclear standoff between the two nations.
Wow, that's incredible. I've already this film is going to be a quite a bit of an impact. So some of the, obviously the challenges in portraying such a complex and controversial figure, you know, comes out of this film. How did you prepare and approach Putin's character to create that, portrayal that resonates in the film?
You know, if I were creating a film about, say, an American figure, it would be much easier, as so many things in the United States are well documented. You can find information online in libraries and so forth. With Russia, however, the country has historically shown the world only what it wanted to, operating behind the Iron Curtain. This meant I had to collaborate with a very array of experts from various fields. For example, we faced challenges documenting the interior of a Russian military aircraft from 1996. Even the deputy chief of NATO intelligence, whom I consulted, had differing information on this, as did a general who led multiple armies in Iraq. So
Mm.
I was for sure that I need a lot of experts from every field to build credibility in this movie. From other side, I was
Yeah.
convinced that the film needed to show the real Putin. And I knew that no actor, even with the best makeup, could capture the realism of this figure, whom people, see in the media daily. Everyone knows what Putin looks like, so it was essential for audience to see Putin himself on screen. And I realized that achieving this wouldn't be possible with technology alone. So for over a year, I worked with the actor to master Putin's body language. And
Mm.
together with body language specialists, we analyzed his movements and mannerisms to help the actor embody Putin's presence and emotions. But it was only beginning to working uh, with AI or on creating, the final effect in our movie. Because in fact, my production is first in history, which created ultra realistic character in the movie
Mm. Mm.
based on uh, artificial intelligence. And what is important, it was impossible, I couldn't call Putin and ask him, come on, Vladimir, can you come to my studio for 20,000 shots? Yes. So uh, I tried to collaborate with two studios from Los Angeles, and even these two studios, Los Angeles and one in London, couldn't achieve it because uh, generally AI doesn't understand human emotions. And everybody tried to creating the effects seen in our film with deepfake technology. You know what is deepfake? That technology when you try to use all footage from internet, from online, and you try to train model of artificial intelligence.
Right, right.
And it's impossible because AI doesn't understand human emotions. It's easy if you want to create face of Trump with smile from Anfas. But if you want to create a complicated character in 2 hours movie with a lot of movements during dialogue, with continuity of emotions, whole spectrum of emotions, I believe that it will be impossible for AI by very long time. And at the end of the day, I had the idea to use AI solely as computational power serving human creativity. By relying on human creation and using AI as a tool, we achieved a flawless result where putting on screen is uh, impossible, to uh, on the same level than real actors. It's impossible to recognize that he was created by artificial intelligence because this effect is
Yeah.
very realistic, and it was also very difficult because this is in highest resolution for theater. It's different stuff if you wanna
Mm.
create something for a mobile phone. But in
Mm,
the cinema when guys gotta had, like small buildings sometime.
yep.
Uh, it's very uh, difficult.
Uh, Fascinating. Well, how long was the process? You said it was a year that you worked with the actor to work with the AI. How long did you take in making the film all round in the end?
Generally, I maybe it's important that I started my career as a documentary filmmaker. I spent 3 years with Homicide Squad, and when I was 18, I was like policeman without gun. It was crazy time in Poland because I had permission for everything for my own risk, in bulletproof jacket. I spoke with murders. I was during shooting on the street, and I also built it system of hidden cameras because
Wow.
I needed, observe criminals from cars. Uh, so I created special clothes for the cameras, special bags, etc., etc. And I used the same experience in Putin because for example, it was impossible to organize permission for realizing shooting day in the front of Kremlin. Yes, with a title like that. So we used this hidden camera and we realized shooting day on the Red Square in the front of Kremlin, and this is in our movie. But
Yeah.
I also uh, cooperated with, for example, DOPs
Yeah.
from Ukraine. And this DOP recorded for me a real bombarding of cities.
Wow.
I, they
And
recorded that, from drones and normal ENG cameras. So we shoot in Israel, in destroyed Aleppo in Syria, also in Jordan, in Russian Federation, in Ukraine, and in Poland. And in this movie, I joined this documentary uh, factor with normal movie and with artificial intelligence. I spent almost 1.5 year during shooting because a lot of stuff was very complicated. For example,
yeah.
we were only one and probably the last crew which had permission for shooting day in Holy Grove in Jerusalem, in Israel. And in the front of that, it's very complicated because you've got thousands of tourists in that place. So you need to have permissions from 7 different religious fractions. And
Wow.
it's not like that you can pay, to everybody because you need to be a friend of some guy. Second, need to pray for it.
Mm.
Third, want money. So my colleague from Mossad uh, helped me with that, but it took half of a year, just permission for this shooting day. And also, uh, I spent 2 years uh, on building my own technology for creating this Putin on the screen. Because at the beginning, as I told you, I tried cooperate with CGI studios from LA and
Yeah.
from London, and the effect was horrible because everybody tried to train model of artificial intelligence based on footage from online. And it's impossible to create a character like that on deepfake technology. And I thought that this is something like mission impossible. So I took my CGI specialist and I told them that, okay, if it's impossible, we should create our own technology. And after 2 years, we did it. In fact, it's completely revolutionary. And right now I made also a special company dedicates for that technology. I want to, for example, create uh, ultra realistic avatars which will react for you as a viewer in real time for your decisions, for your emotions. So,
Wow.
for example, you will have a possibility for a conversation with a woman from commercial of perfumes, yes, and dialogue with her. And also, I want to bring uh, helpful resolutions for film industry. For example, I want to give a tool when you can create digital crowd building from people which not exist in reality. So this is clear from ethical aspect, because scenes with extras are the most risky for producers, for directors, because from a financial aspect, from organization aspect, because you always got, a problem with weather, because if you want to do it during sun, you've got a cloud, 1,000 people need to wait for changing the weather, etc. So I want to give a tool and you can decide about race, age, emotions of that crowd and prepare it digitally in for 50% of money that you need to spend for that in reality.
Yeah.
And so whole production uh, took 3 years.
Wow. It's amazing. That's amazing. But look what you've come out with. Something quite extraordinary and revolutionary, as you say. That yeah, it's going to be very helpful. I like the fact that you can have a conversation with an avatar about decision of your hair.
It can be really helpful.
It's going to be very helpful. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, look, it's Patryk, you must be so excited that, obviously the film, the release of this film will be next year. When
Yes, 10th of January.
10th of January, the 10th.
Mhm.
And and what do you feel, what would you like the audiences to feel when they see this film?
I'm thinking that we should start from that. Uh, what kind of personality Putin is?
Yeah, yeah,
Because Putin is not insane. He is a profoundly corrupt individual, like any dictator. He has immense ego. If we look at the history of any empire's collapse, it always starts from within. The army and government face a crisis, leading to localized conflicts that often escalate into civil wars, ultimately bringing down the empire.
yeah,
Putin vividly remembers the fall of the Soviet Union when overnight Lithuania, Latvia, Ukraine, and Estonia declared themselves independent nations. So Russia is a complex mix of races, cultures, and nations. It's not hard to imagine a scenario where one of its republics suddenly decides it no longer identifies with Putin's Russia and instead leans toward the West. This is why Putin creates external enemies.
Yeah.
He uses this to unite his people. Russia lacks a cohesive political ideology. Its ideology is a twisted hybrid of uh, contradictory elements, and Putin constantly sends a message to Russians: we must stick together, and anyone who opposes us will be destroyed. This explains why Russia's secret service murder opposition leaders, businessmen, or even former agents who stand against Putin. The West needs to understand that for Putin, Ukraine is merely a battleground in his larger war against the West. Russia is a nation where politics, organized crime, business, and intelligence are intertwined. From this perspective, Putin can be seen as the country's most powerful gangster. He only understands the language of strength. Psychology teaches us that backing down in the front of any aggressor only fuels their aggression. Therefore, the West must stop deceiving itself into thinking that appeasement policies toward Putin can yield any real benefits. Putin has prepared for a long-term war. He doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't smoke, and practice judo. But he's not a young man. He doesn't have much time, and his ego is a problem. If he had waited 3 more years to invade Ukraine, Europe's energy dependence on Russia would have reached a point where Ukraine could
Yeah.
have been handed to Putin without a single word of protest. The fact that he couldn't wait underscores his ego issues. I believe every autocracy poses a threat, and politics requires balance. When I speak to Americans, they often express concern about the lack of uh, counterbalance in their own political system now that Republicans control both the Senate and Congress. However, I think Trump is the right politician to confront Putin. Trump's own oversized ego won't let him appear weak. He would never agree to policies of blatant consciousness to Putin, as that would make him lose face and appear as a weak leader. Putin doesn't respect weakness. When faced with unequal opponent, he belittles them. Just look at how he treated Macron during their meeting. But he behaves entirely differently when dealing with leaders like Erdogan or Netanyahu. I believe the world, the world is currently in its most unstable state since World War II. every scenario is on the table and anything can happen. When I hear futurists presenting singular visions of what lies ahead, I am outraged as a sociologist. The
Yeah.
world is interconnected through politics, economics, and technology, with so many variables that predicting the future is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Often, we don't even understand events happening in real time.
Yeah.
This uncertainty makes humanity drown in fear.
Yeah.
Fear of the unknown. Unknown is always the worst. And my film Putin offers a unique experience, bringing audiences uncomfortably close to Putin.
Yeah.
It exposes the weakness of the Russian dictator, showing him in the most intimate situations.
Mm.
And my goal is for viewers to watch my film and come to understand the rules by which this man operates.
Yeah.
When we comprehend the rules of the game, we can mentally prepare for the future, and our fear started to be smaller. This is this above all is what I want audiences to take away from Putin.
Okay. Fantastic. We've actually run out of time. It's coming up, and I could talk to you for ages. You're amazing, and you know what you've done here, and it's very everything's just so interesting in the subject and how you've made this film, and what's going to come out of it. I think is going to be very interesting to see when it does get released. I'm looking forward to seeing it, Patryk. Um, we want to thank you for your time today, and we wish you a happy new year.
Oh,
And yeah,
for you too, Caroline.
thank you. Merry Christmas and a happy new year. And yeah, and again, thank you very much for joining us today. It's amazing.
Thank you for a great conversation. It was
Thank
really nice
you.
to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye
good
bye.
night for me, good day for you.
It is. Yes, it is.
Bye.